everybody, my name is Melissa and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my TBR for the month of April, which is actually going to be the O.W.L. Readathon. So I will leave links and descriptions and all that for the O.W.L. Readathon down below, so you can go check out the announcement video that is on Bookrosa's channel. So she is hosting this amazing readathon again. So she does it twice a year. The first one is the O.W.L.s. Later on in the year it is the Newts. So I participated in the O.W.L.s last year. I vlogged each of my weeks and it was one of the most exciting months last year because I met a bunch of people that loved fantasy books as well as reading in general, and I just felt like, I don't know, it was one of my favorite reading months out of the entire year. So I got a lot of reading done because of this readathon, and I'm hoping the same thing is going to happen. Last year I did a TBR video that I recommended a book or planned to read a book for each of the prompts because I didn't really know which career I was going to choose, and kind of the same thing is happening now. So I have the prompts right here, and each of them are, you know, going for a different class, and I chose mostly one book for each of the prompts. So I have a couple of books to get to, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first one is Ancient Ruins, which is a heart ruin, or heart on the cover or the title. So I decided to go with A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kimmerer. I ended up reading the first book, A Curse So Dark and Lonely, during the O.W.L. Readathon last year, so I thought it was just fitting to go ahead and pick this one up for the O.W.L. Readathon again this year. So I've had this since it pretty much came out, and I haven't exactly been saving it for this, but I thought it was the perfect time and I really want to get to it, so obviously heart is in the title. So for the second one, it's Arithmancy, so magical qualities of number 2, balance/opposites. Read something outside of your comfort zone. So something that I really do not read at all is middle grade. So I actually have the first and second books in the series, Nevermore by Jessica Townsend. I started this book actually a little while ago. I'm on page 76, but I just don't feel like I connect to middle grade all that much. I don't know what it is. It just takes me longer to read middle grade, which you would think it would be the opposite, but for some reason it just takes me a little bit longer. I think it's because I'm not like connecting to the characters. I don't really know, but I've heard wonderful things about this series. I have the first 2 books, so I decided to go ahead and pick up the first one for this readathon. So for astronomy, the night classes, read majority of this book when it's dark outside. So I figured I would go ahead and pick up Brandon Sanderson's Edge Dancer, which is pretty short. It's a little book, 200 something pages. So I figured I could fly through this and read it at night time. This is the kind of like novella in between the second and the third book of the Stormlight Archives. I started reading this book and I realized that some of this is actually in the second book as kind of like the middle chapters that are in between the different parts. So I'm not sure how much of this is an actual new book, but I have it. I want to read it before I go into Oathbringer, which is the third novel. So I have this one to read next month. So for Care of Magical Creatures, that's going to be Hippogriff, so creature with a beak on the cover. So I picked up Broken Eye by Brent Weeks. So I'm not sure if you can see, but there's birds over here. I read the second book last year, The Blinding Knife, during this readathon last year. So again, I decided I would pick up this book to continue on. I've actually read one book out of the Lightbringer series in the past 2 years, so one each year, kind of during the summer. I have actually started this book already, kind of in the middle, and I really want to get to this. So this is obviously a huge book, but I found myself flying through the second one, and I'm sure the same thing will happen with this. And the series is complete, so I definitely want to get it finished when I get a chance, so I picked this book up. So for Charms class, it's going to be Lumos Maxima, or a white cover. I ended up picking up The Modern Fairy Tales by Holly Black. This is the bind up of Tithe Valiant and Ironside. I read these back in middle school, so I don't remember anything about it. I just remember loving the first book, so I want to give it a reread and give it a try. Obviously it is a white cover. Another book that I decided to pick up, which also can be tied into the next prompt, which is going to be Defense Against the Dark Arts, So a book that's set at the sea or coast. So that's going to be The Girl the Sea Gave Back. So white cover as well as in the sea. And then I also got The House in the Karelian Sea by T.J. Klune. So this is a recent purchase for me actually. I'm really excited. I really liked Wolf Song, which is his shapeshifter romance. He writes male romances and I absolutely fell in love with the writing in that. So I'm really excited because yeah, this is really short, really cute, and really want to get to it. I know it's a male romance as well, fantasy. Very excited. So for divination, it's like assign a number to your TBR and use a random number generator to pick your read. And then I kind of like cheated and I chose this one because it had a number on it. And that is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Haro. This is a book that I have been wanting to read ever since I got it. Pretty sure I put this book on several TBRs if I'm not mistaken, but haven't read it. It kind of reminds me of like a Wayward children's type book because of the doors and going into different worlds and things like that. I've heard mixed reviews about it, but personally I really want to get to it, and I feel like because I'm reading Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City book, I've been in the mood for fantasy, so yeah. That's why I picked this one up. So for the herbology test, it's going to be a title that starts with M. I chose Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. Don't really know too much about this. I think it's about twins who were created in a lab. And that's really all I know. It's fantastical, a bit sci-fi maybe. Yeah, but I've heard really good things about this, and this author has not let me down with her Wayward Children's series. I absolutely adore it, so I definitely want to check this one out. I think it's a standalone as well. Okay, for History of Magic, it's going to be Witch Hunts, books featuring witches or wizards. I definitely want to pick up Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. I recently talked about Carry On. I read it last year, loved it. It was one of my favorite books of the year, and I really want to get to the sequel. Heard mixed things about this one, but either way, definitely want to get to it and continue on with Simon and Baz and their love story because they're just so precious. I love them. So for Muggle studies, it's going to be a book from a perspective of a Muggle or a contemporary. So I picked up The Mistake by Elle Kennedy. Also, this is an M book as well. But yeah, I read The Deal last year. Really enjoyed it. These are hockey romances, contemporary. And yeah, definitely need to continue on with the series since I already own it. I picked this up from Half Price Books and they actually have book plates in it, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, I definitely want to get to this one and read all the romance goodness in between all of my fantasy books. So for potions, it's a shrinking solution or a book under 150 pages. I don't think I actually physically own a book that's under 150 pages, so I'll have to look on my Kindle and Kindle Unlimited to see if I can find something, which I'm sure I can because there are plenty of novellas on there. I just didn't know what I want, so I figured that could be like a free one that I choose later on during the month. So for Transfiguration, it's a book or series that includes shape-shifting. So I thought this would be perfect since I loved Wolf Song by T.J. Klune, which was absolutely amazing. I ended up getting the second two books, or my husband ended up purchasing them for me. So I have Raven Song, which is the second book in the Green Creek series. These are male shifter romances. Loved the first one so much, and I definitely want to continue on with the second. I'm reading this with Lacey this month, and I cannot wait to read this. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching my Owl Readathon TBR. If you watch any of my TBR videos, my vlogs, my wrap-ups, things like that, TBRs are very tentative for me since I don't normally stick with them, but I really am excited about a lot of these and to finally move on into a bunch of these series and kind of get them finished up. If you have any thoughts or opinions, or if you're participating, let me know down below. I would love to hear about it, chat about it with you in the comments, and I hope you have a great day and happy reading. Bye!